Hello students. Today we are going to learn chapter 4 in business studies and the name of the chapter is business services. First of all, let's understand that what is business services and what is production of goods and services. So we all, many times we come across so many business activities. We purchase things, we purchase goods, and sometimes we also purchase services. So what is it purchase of goods and purchase of services? Purchase of goods means that when we are buying any physical goods or commodity from the seller. Like let's say for example, if you're buying a water bottle from the shop, which means that you are buying a physical product. That is purchase of goods. What is purchase of service? When we go to the bank provides us or helps us and gives us many facilities like depositing money or transferring money. So all these services are provided by the bank. But bank is not involved into the production of any goods. They are just merely providing us the services. So anything which provides services and is not involved into production of goods, those are called services. Like let's say for example that a business organization, if they are involved into production of any goods, let's say water bottles. Now, after the production is done or even during the process, there are various services which are used by the business organizations as well as the consumers. Like let's say for example, transport. So when he purchases the raw material or when he wants to sell his final goods or finished products, he needs transportation. He needs communication to place the order or to sell or distribute the product. Same time, he needs banking services also for transaction between the buyer and seller and the agents or franchisees or distributors. So this way, business organization is using many services like banking, insurance, warehouse, or let's say, for example, transport, communication. So all these are services who are not involved into production of any goods, but they are just providing services. Now, when we talk about nature of services, services are intangible, which means that they cannot be touched. Like let's say for example, when a doctor is giving you an advice if you're not well, he's providing his services, his expertise, knowledge. So we are purchasing his services and not the doctor himself. Similarly, a teacher, when she is sharing her knowledge, she's providing a service. So nothing, so doctors, teachers, lawyers, or any professional services or any other business services like transport, communication, insurance, banking, all these are not involved into production of any goods, but they are just providing services which are intangible, which cannot be touched. So they are experimental in nature and one cannot touch the entertainment or doctor's treatment. Second feature is inconsistency. This is the second important characteristics of service is inconsistency, since there is no standard tangible product. So services have to be performed exclusively each time. So whenever you fall ill, you go to the doctor. It's not that one time you have used his services, so same thing can be continued. No, there is inconsistency. Each time we have to purchase his or her services, be it communication, be it transport, or anything. Thirdly, inseparability. This is another important characteristics of service. Activity of production and consumption are being performed, and this makes the production and consumption of service seems to be inseparable. Why? When the production takes place, it means that there has to be surely consumption. And if there is an existence of consumption, which means there is a demand in the market, so production is going to take place. So production and consumption are the inseparable concept. The third one is inventory. Services have very little or no tangible compound, and therefore services cannot be stored for future use. We can say that it is perishable in nature. It cannot be stored. Now, what is perishable? Perishable goods are those which cannot be stored for a longer period of time. Similarly, services also, they cannot be stored. So let's say if a doctor is giving you a treatment, you cannot store his services for future. So they are perishable, and providers can at best store some associate goods but not the service itself. This means that the demand and supply needs to be managed as the services has to be performed as and when customer ask for it. The another feature is involvement. This is one of the most important another characteristic of service, that the participation of customer in service delivery process. Like let's say a consumer or a customer has the opportunity to get the services modified according to specific requirements. Now let's understand that what is difference between services and goods. As I said, goods are tangible, it can be seen, touched, and services are intangible. It can just be experienced. Goods can be stored for a longer period of time if it is a durable goods, and services are perishable. They cannot be stored for a longer period, or in short, services cannot be stored at all. So this is the basic difference between services and goods. Now let's understand what are the types of services. When speaking of a service sector, like let's say the communication industry or transport or banking or insurance, warehouse, even entertainment industry, or let's say restaurant, all these are part of service sector. So services can be classified into three broad categories: business service, social services, and personal services. So let's understand what are business services. Business services are those services which are used by business enterprises for conducting their activity. So just few minutes back, I gave you an example that in business organization, production is not the only function which is carried on by business entrepreneurs, but even other activities or other operations are needed to fulfill the production. Like they need transportation, they need communication, they need banking for various transactions. So all these are the business services. Next one is social services. Social services are those services that are generally provided voluntarily in pursuit of certain social goals. Like let's say, for example, running an NGO, or helping poor, or spreading an awareness about education so that people opt for education. All these are the examples of social service because it is done with the motive of welfare and social goal. The third type is personal services. Personal services are those services which are experienced differently by different customer, and these services cannot be consistent in nature. Over here, we can, in personal services, we can take an example that if we go to a restaurant, they give us a menu which has varieties of foods which are available. So they are providing different services for different consumer, and consumer can customize their choice of ordering the food according to their taste and preference. So here in this case, services are offered differently to different people. Now, in this chapter, as the topic itself says, that we are going to learn more of business services, and we are going to learn in detail as to which are the business services. And in today's world, which is of tough competition, where you have to survive, and only those can survive who are fit to rule. So there is no room for non-performance, and hence companies tend to stick to what they can do best. In order to be competitive in the market, business entrepreneurs are becoming more and more dependent on specialized business services. Now, business enterprise look towards bank for availability of fund. So whenever they are in need of fund, or whenever they want money or capital, then they get it from the bank in the form of loan. Insurance company for getting their plant, machinery, and goods insured. So there is risk involved in business. and you need insurance or risk coverage so that those risks can be reduced. So in business people would require insurance apart from banking. Similarly, transport companies for transporting raw materials, finished goods, and communication, and it involves telecom and postal services so that you can be constantly in touch with the vendors, suppliers, and customers. So we can see that these three things are playing a major role in the business organization. No business organization can run without banking, insurance, communication, and transportation. Especially when today's globalized world has, ushered in rapid change in the service industry in India especially. And India has been gaining very highly competitive edge over the other country, especially when it comes to service sector. We all know that earlier India was into the major production of agricultural goods, but now there has been a shift in the sector from agriculture to manufacturing and from manufacturing to service sector, which is gradually growing. Now let's study one by one each business service. So first, let's start with banking. A bank stimulates economic activity in the market by dealing in money, and it is mobilizing the saving of people. That is, you can have the optimum utilization of your savings when you're investing it or depositing it into the bank. And banking also helps to make the funds available to business people in the form of financing when they give it in the form of loan. So it also deals in the financial instrument, and it also provides financial services like they provide you interest, discount, commissions, etc. And banking can be classified into the following. There are different types of banks: commercial bank, cooperative bank, specialized bank, and central bank. So commercial banks are those which are dealing in money, where all the public are depositing money, withdrawing money whenever it is required in the form of check or cash or draft. It also provides fund, or it also helps in raising the fund. So it also gives long-term and short-term loans to the people. So these are governed by Indian Banking Regulation Act 1949, and according to it, banking means accepting the deposit of money from public for the purpose of lending or investment. And there are two types of commercial bank: public sector and private sector banks. Second one is cooperative bank. Now, cooperative bank are governed by provision of state cooperative society, and they are meant essentially for providing cheap credit to its members. So cooperative banks are especially for the motive to help the people to get the loan at a very cheaper interest rates. And it is an important source of rural credit, especially in financing agricultural or helping the farmers to get the loan at a lesser interest rate. The third one is specialized bank. Now, specialized banks are foreign exchange banks, industrial banks, development banks like IDBI, which means Industrial Development Bank of India, HDFC, which means housing development, so especially for housing purpose. But with the growing competition, now every specialized bank has started giving the various services like commercial banks also, and also export import banks catering to specific needs of these unique activities. Now these bank provides finance aid to industry. So all those industries who wants to have a loan or a capital, then they can raise the capital from these specialized bank in the form of loan. Next one is central bank. Central bank is the apex authority, and it is the apex body of all the banks, which means the example of central bank in India is RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India, is the central bank for India. The central bank of any country, it supervises, controls, and regulates the activity of all the commercial bank of that particular country. And it also acts as a government bank, which means that whenever government is in need of money, they can get the loan or money from the central bank, that is RBI. Similarly, it is also called not only as government's banker, but also banker's bank, which means when any commercial bank is facing financial crisis, even they can borrow from the RBI or central bank. So it controls, coordinates the issue of currency and credit policy of any country. And RBI is the central bank of our country. Now let's understand that what are the functions of commercial bank. Now especially the commercial bank, they perform varieties of function. Some of them are basic or primary functions of bank, while others are agency or general utility services in nature. So the important functions are briefly discussed below. The first function is accepting the deposits. So commercial bank, they accept the deposit from the people and they help them to save and invest their money. And commercial bank, by accepting the deposit, they also provide various different types of deposits like saving deposits, current deposit, fixed deposit, and recurring deposit. Saving deposits are especially for the individual or households who want to save money or invest money or deposit money into the bank and get regular interest. Current account or current deposits are especially for the business people who perform various transactions during the day. So current deposits are mainly for the business people who can or who faces various transactions during the day. But usually interest are not given on current deposits or current account. The third one is fixed deposit, which is usually where the money is deposited for particular fixed period of time. Let's say 1 year, you have deposited 50,000 for 1 year, and on the date of maturity, the person or the individual who has done the fixed deposit, they get that money amount on the maturity date with interest. So that was the first function, that is accepting the deposit. And second function is lending the fund, which means providing loan. Commercial bank provides short-term and long-term loans to individuals also and to business people also. The third one is it provides check facility, remittance of fund, which means that whenever a person wants to withdraw money, then they can do so by mean of cash withdrawal, or they can withdraw by check or with demand draft. Next one is allied services. Commercial bank also provides other services like locker facilities, travelers check, and they also help you to pay dividends or to collect the dividends, or even interest rates or insurance premiums are paid with the help of commercial bank. Now let's talk about the most important function in today's highly technology advanced world, that is e-banking. Now the growth of internet and e-commerce is dramatically changing in everyday life with the World Wide Web and e-commerce transforming the world into digital global village. The latest wave in information technology is internet banking, and we can see that majority of the people in India, especially in urban areas, they have started adopting e-banking so that they can easily have all the transaction or transfer money or funds from one place to another with the help of internet banking. And it is part of virtual banking and another delivery channel for customers. Now, there are certain benefits of e-banking, and the most important is it provides you 24/7 services. So throughout the year, these services are continuous. Customer can make some of the permitted transaction from office or house or even while traveling. So it is easy to do the transaction even when you're traveling or even if you're home or office. It inculcates a sense of financial discipline by recording each and every transaction. See, in earlier days, when e-banking was not existing, it was difficult for the customer that each time they had to, do various activities manually, like going to the bank, filling up the passbook, or doing any kind of activity, let's withdrawing the money or depositing the money. So all these activities were done physically, whereas nowadays with the help of e-banking, now there is no space for manual. You can easily, without going to the bank, you can transfer the money, or you can transfer the money into your account or to some other account. So these are the benefits of e-banking. Thank you very much. This is for part 1. In the next session, we'll continue with insurance.